Cool. All right, so from what I'm seeing, it's good. The tally is we just count and look at the letter. And we, for example, if we have P, for those who forgot, who don't remember what to do, you're going to go back to the screen to zoom. So the P is, we just count how many P for the class, which is right here, right, wrapped. So I'm going to start counting this 1. And then F, there are 2 of those, so I can put 2. So that's how I do, that's how I march the tally. I'm just counting how many, and then I go for C, which is the country music. So 1, and then J, okay? So the correct answer would be, I'm just gonna give you the correct answers, because I think for the one who started it, you did well. So the first one for rock music is 5, and the cumulative is also 5. Jazz, the tally mark is 2, the frequency is 2, the cumulative is 7. If you have any question on this one, please ask question. If you don't ask anything, I assume that you're okay with that. I'm going to move on to the next because we have so many problems that we want to go through. But I'm not in a rush. We'll go through at your own pace. So country music, I have 3 for the tally mark. So to find the cumulative frequency is that I'm adding, right? So I'm taking 7 plus 3, that give me 10. The top 40, there are 8 tally marked. 1, 2, 3. That's 8. And then I would take 10 plus 8, give me 18 for the cumulative frequency. The last one have 7 tally marked. So I'm just right over the frequency is 7, so 18 plus 7 is 25. So that's a quick review of what we covered last class. Any question for me on this one? For this one right here, say cumulative frequency. I'm going to write it right here. Cumulative frequency, okay? All right, so we're gonna move on to the next type of problems that you're gonna run into for this Thursday. Is this, not that one. I'm gonna move to the next one. After we do a couple example, and then what I would do is that I will turn into student pay. So what you can do is you can go back and do these problems. And then we kind of talked about this earlier. I think the last class we talked about when there's another objective is that when the frequency table is given to you. And the question that I will ask you, like, if you have to think about which columns that you have to use and what numbers that you have to look for to answer question, that's another thing that we'll look at, okay? So look over here. This one is asking the most popular type of music. And then the least popular type of music. And then the other one was asking for how many students. So we have to ask ourselves with this frequency table, the one that we just completed it, we just have to ask ourselves which column that makes sense for us to look at. So it's more like the link, okay. Anyone else need the link? I can share the link with you again. Let me know. So when it's asking for the most popular type of music, can you guys tell me which column makes sense for you to look at, the frequency or the cumulative frequency? I will not look at the tally. I'm going to give you that hint right now because the tally and the frequency is the same thing. The tally is just, the tally marked is exactly as the frequency. So now if I'm asking for the most popular type of music, or the least, the one that I like the most, or the one that they like the least, is that the frequency or the cumulative frequency? What do you think? The frequency. Thank you, Elena, right? It's a frequency because it tells you how often someone listens to something. So this one will be the frequency. Okay, so that's the frequency. I'm going to use that column. So I highlight so that it's going to match up with the questions. You're like, okay, if you run into this question, this is the column that you look for. Now, the last question was asking how many students. When we talk about how many students, we talk about the total, right? How many students were polled, that just means how many students total. So think about total. The last, Brandon, yes, is cumulative frequency. Yes. The very last number, we talked about this earlier, is this one is the total. It's tell you how many people, how many items, how many students that we survey, or how many things that we counted. So that's the total, okay? So if I looked over here, we would look at the cumulative frequency and we'll look at the last number if they're asking for all of the total. But sometimes they was asking how many students were polled for the answer for country music and top 40. And then we just depend on the question and then we determine if we add all of them or just part of them. So yes, Brandon, the last question, the answer should be 25 because there are 25 students were being surveyed. Okay, so when we look for the most popular, that means we look for the highest number. So if you look for the highest, the most popular would be the top 40 because that's the one with the highest frequency. And then the least popular would be the one with the smallest number, which is jazz. So that would be my questions. That's how I answer the question. So you will run into problems where you don't have to create the frequency table. It's given to you, but you have to ask yourself, do I use the frequency or do I look at the cumulative frequency? So the hint that I'm giving to you is that cumulative, when you talk about the total, how many total, okay? The frequency is when they're asking you what you like the most, what you like the least. You compare them. Questions? Okay, let's quickly review this because I think the last time when I did it on a PDF and what happened was when I asked people to do the work and email it to me, honestly, I have like 1 or 2 students email that to me, so I don't really see the work and I'm not sure where you are. So what I did was I copied this problem that we did before spring break and I put it here. What I'm going to ask you to do is take a couple minutes, go ahead and go to Pear Deck and take a few minutes to complete this table. So based on this one, I will take a look, we'll give you feedback. Make sure you pay attention to the feedback. I will call your name and say, please look at the feedback. I'll show you what to do. I'll give you any hints that I can give you, I will. But go ahead and start, go to Pear Deck. If you're going to do this on paper, honestly, if you're going to do it on paper, that is fine. But make sure that you share your work with me so I know where you are. Okay, so for today, you will get credits for how much work that you're doing with me today. So you will have some points for doing the work. All right, so go ahead and start. Take a couple minutes while I'm checking. So go ahead and this should be slide 7. Not slide 7. Slide 4. Okay. So tally is 5, frequency is 5. So we know the cumulative for the first one is going to be the same. For this one, the next tally, they tell the frequency is 12. So I'm just going to draw this in. There should be 12 of those. And to get the next frequency is 5 plus 12, which is 17. The next one is, I'm counting, there are 16 tally marks. And then to find the cumulative, I'm adding 16 and 17. That give me 33. I can just go ahead and finish up the last column, which is 33 plus 14. That would be 47. 47 plus 2, that would be 49. 49 plus 1, that give you 50. Okay. On the class, the very first column, for some of you make a mistake is that you use the same number, you repeat 117, but keep in mind it's always going to be one number higher. So this is 117, so this should be 118. And you know the class width, the difference between those two is 5. So 105 minus 100, that's 5. So 118 plus 5 give you 123. Same thing, I can finish up with this one, going to be 130, and I know the difference is 5, so this one is 135. I believe I did this already, so I'm going to go over this one a little bit fast. But if you need me to slow down, let me know. I saw there's one message. Give me 1 second. I will respond to you. Okay. All right. So that is the table. Okay. Yes, for any of you was like, I'm not sure what to do, and at a certain point, I'm recording the work that I'm doing right now, so if it's still like, I'm not quite sure what you do, you can go back and look at the link that I will share with you today. Kind of pause along the while you see, okay, let's see what Miss Nguyen doing. Pause. And then you can take notes and then go back like, okay, why are we doing this? So I'm trying to go over the notes. And then if it's too fast, there's a video. You can pause while I'm talking. Like, nope, I'm going to pause right here and see what she do. Okay, so hopefully that helped. All right, so this is a table. This is another objective that you should be able to do is that I'm going to give the table. I'll give you some information, and I'm going to ask you to fill in the rest. All right. Now, I know that I turn on student pace, and a lot of you probably been walking around all over the place, and some of you was not sure. I'm not sure where you are. But there's one thing I want for sure to review with you for Thursday is that if right now, if you know what to do, then that is fine. But I want you to go to the very last slide, which is create frequency table. And I think this is the one that by far is the hardest, and this is the one that most of you got confused. So I want you to kind of go to the very last slide, which is slide 12. Create frequency table. Okay. Elena, can you tell me what slide that you asking me? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna also record this if you need me to, if you need to go back and watch this one before the test or office hours, one-on-one would be much better, okay? So create frequency table. This is the one that I find that most of you get confused, or it's been a while and you may have forgot, so I wanna go over this problem. So go into slide 12, okay? So for this one, if I'm giving you a list of data and then I ask you to fill in the frequency table, the step number 1, we need to find the class width. So I'm gonna ask you if you have a pencil, paper, write this down. So you have this note, you have the steps in front of you. That way you can follow while taking the test on Thursday, okay? You should have the notes. It's much easier than you have to search for the document. So find the class width. Anyone remember what to do to find the class width? What do I do? Okay, yeah. So we do the maximum minus the minimum divide by numbers of classes. Okay, now in here, it's not saying the instruction, but if you look at the row that I give you, there are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this means I should divide by 4. Because if you look at the table, most of the time I will tell you. If I don't, if you read the question, it's not telling you, but you can look at the table. If you count the rows, how many, that's how many you have to divide. So there are 4 of those. So you divide by 4 because 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we're going to look for the maximum in here, which is the highest values in here, which is the highest number that we have is 55. Okay. And then the lowest values, the maximum is the highest values in here. The minimum is 20. So I'm going to minus 20. So 25 divided by 4. Let's see what that's going to give me. 25 divided by 4. Wait. I just want to make sure that I use the correct numbers, okay? So the maximum is 55 and then 20. Sorry, it's 35. I subtracted wrong. So 35 divided by 4. This will give me 8.75. Okay, so I would round that to 9. Okay. All right, I'm going to check in the chat right now. Okay, Miss Munoz also type in the chat for you the steps as well. So step number 1, you're going to find the class width. You take the highest values, in this case, which is 55, and then you minus the lowest one, which is 20. Okay. And then we divide by 4 because we have 4 classes. Okay. For the class, we're going to start with the lowest number, which is, in this case, is 20. Now, when we have a decimal, we want to round it up or down, depending on the decimal. So if you have a question how to round the decimal, let me know. So I'm going to start with the smallest number, which is 20. To get to the next one, I'm adding the class width that I just solved for, which is 9. So that can give me 29. For the next one, it's going to be 30 plus 9. That's going to be 39. 40, 49, 50 to 59. That would be my class. Question for me so far? Okay. For the tally, I think you guys doing well with the tally. So I'm not sure if I should do the next one. I feel like from the example that we did, the bell ringer, it seemed that you recognize and how you put in the tally. So do I need to finish up this table or are we okay? That's all you need. Please let me know. Because I think the one that you guys struggle the most is to fill in the first column. You want me to continue or no? Just finish up? Okay. All right, so for the tally, this is 20. So I'm looking for 20. It belongs to the first class, 1 time. So 1. Then for 31, it belongs to the second class. So I make the tally mark. Then I have 30, the second class. 55, the last one. 46, third. And I will finish up. That's how I would do the tally. Okay. 34, 35, Whoops. 35. Okay. And then 52, 20, again right here, 38, right here, 23, right here, 27, okay, 37, whoops, 42, 38, 34, 49, 20, 39, and 27, okay. Once I have the tally, the rest should be a bit easier. So frequency is 6. Cumulative frequency should be the same. This one is 8. To get the cumulative frequency, I would add them. So this gives me 14. This one is 3. 14 plus 3 is 17. 2 right here, so 17 plus, this gives me 9. Sorry. Sorry, this one should be 2. I don't know why I make that 2, so this gives you 19. Okay, so that's how you would create the frequency tables. And I think the rest of the practice, I'm going to give you this time. I'm going to check in the work to see where you guys are. Please put in the chat. So I'm going to stop, go over questions, but I'll give you this time to